Hello everybody, it's Wendy, and today we are going to make a bracelet using products from the August 2021 bargain bead box. So, little words of wisdom for today: always be a little kinder than necessary. It says, leave a little kindness wherever you go. Life is so much better when we're in it together. And that is so true in this world that we live in today. Oh my goodness. All right, so here's what you're going to need. This is from the August 2021 bargain bead box. And if you're not familiar with bargain bead box, it is a monthly beading subscription service. So you're going to need one of the butterfly pendants out of the box this month. You're going to need one of the toggle rings, not the bar, just the ring. 2 crimp tubes. Now these are size 2 crimp tubes. These did not come in the box this month. These are from my own stash, but you're going to need them. You're going to need some ball head pins, and these were from my own stash as well. You're going to need some little, you can use these flower beads or you can use whatever you have. These are from Sam's Bead Box this month, and I've got 6 of them, these little metal flower beads. I think they're so pretty. We're going to be using those today. And we're using the a bunch of these mermaid beads from the box this month, the bargain bead box. 3 of the petals. And these are some 4mm fire polish from my own stash. I just thought this was so pretty with red. They had a lot of pink in the box this month, which looks beautiful too. But I put these red beads with this and just thought it looked amazing. So I'm going to be using some of those too. I have got a bunch of little oval jump rings. These are on my website if you'd like to get some. You don't have some and you'd like to get some. They're great little oval jump rings. They are 4mm. No, they're 6mm, I think. It says in the description on the website. I have 2 wire guardians. I have some bead caps. These did not come in the box this month. I actually used all the bead caps that they sent. So these are some from my own stash, and these as well are available on my website if you're interested in them. And then I have one of the toggle clasp sets, okay, the full set here. So those are the things that we're going to be using today. Oh, and a length of tiger tail. Now this did not come in the box either, but this is, I've got about a 12-inch piece here of 7-strand tiger tail. Okay, so that's one more thing that you're going to need. You could use chain if you wanted, like if you had Coriana chain, I believe it would work just as well. Or you could use beading chain, like a I don't know, a thicker beading chain I think would work too, but I'm using tiger tail for this one. So all right, I think that's everything you're going to need. You may need a couple head pins or eye pins. I don't think so though. And you're going to need your jewelry tools, and we'll go ahead and get right into this. So this is not going to be a complicated bracelet at all. What I am going to do is put a bead bug on one end. This saves me from losing my beads. It always does. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to create a focal in the middle of this bracelet. Now, actually, I pulled out 2 crimp beads and 2 crimp tubes and wire guardians. We're going to need 4. I'm so sorry. We are going to need 4. 4 crimp tubes, 4 wire guardians. Sorry, guys. I just wasn't thinking. Let me go ahead and get a couple more crimp tubes out here and we'll be good to go. Those aren't tubes. They're in here. I just have to catch them. It's like fishing. There they are. Okay. All right, crimp tubes and wire guardians. Okay, so we're going to actually be cutting this tiger tail in half. That is one thing that I need to do in the beginning of this. So we're cutting this in half, and we're going to create a focal with the butterfly and this ring, and then the tiger tail is going to hook to either side of these, okay? So let's go ahead and do this. Just go ahead and get this part done. So I'm going to take one of my oval jump rings, and I'm going to attach the butterfly right onto the ring here on the toggle ring. Okay, now I'm going to pull out some bigger jump rings, some bigger, thinner jump rings, because if you can see, the petals here I want to attach over here, but I don't want to use Bracelet style wire wrapping and all that. I don't like it. So I'm going to pull out some bigger, thinner jump rings that I think will work to put these through. And we'll give them a try. We'll see. If they don't work, then we may have to wire wrap, but I really don't want to wire wrap if I don't have to. So I'm pulling out a few jump rings. I think this will work. This is kind of designed on the fly today. I'm sorry, but it's been a crazy day. All right, so I'm going to take one of these jump rings. I am going to attach the petal, and yeah, that's going to work just fine. And I'm going to put the petal right here on this. Just like that. I really like these petals. I think they're so pretty. And I really wanted to use them just in a different way. I don't know. I was trying to think of just a different way to use them. So I'm going to put these two kind of face down, as if you would say. I'm like, I don't know how to describe that, but they're, see this concave side, I'm putting them down, and then this one I'm going to turn up like that. If that makes sense. I hope it does. So I've got two facing one way. This third one I'm going to put on facing the opposite of the other two, just to give it a little variety. I'm going to put him in between them. And I can see I did not get that one closed very good, so I need to come back and do that. Got that one. Let me fix this one. Okay. So there's what we've got so far. Now, I'm going to create a few little dangles with these 4mm fire polish beads. And I'm doing that, I'm going to do that with these ball head pins. So you're going to see the extent of my wire wrapping right here. So we're just going to put one on the head pin like this. We're going to bend this at a 90-degree angle. Then I'm going to grab my chain nose pliers, grab it in the bend, and go up and over. So here's what you got, a little question mark looking thing. Okay, rotate your pliers up and go all the way around and under. So then you have this little loop. All right. Then I'm going to grab the loop with my chain nose pliers, and I'm going to take my round nose pliers. I'm going to take my chain nose pliers and just wrap. And you can wrap around and make it look as messy or as neat as you want, except for, what in the world happened? Mine broke. My little, my wire broke. That is unusual. Alrighty. Well, there you have it. Your wire breaks. You have to start over. I've never, well, maybe I have had that happen, but it's been a long time. Same thing. This is a little bit thicker one. Maybe it'll do better. Up, over, go around, and hold this. I don't know why that wire broke off. That's odd. I've not had that happen too many times. Yeah, here we go. This one's thicker. And we're just going to wrap. Now, like I said, you can make it as neat or as messy as you want. It's totally up to you. This is the extent of my wire wrapping skills right here. And I'm always proud of myself when I can do this. Like, yeah, I made a wire wrapped loop. Crazy. All right, tuck that little snaggle in. You don't want that getting anybody. Okay, and just set him aside. And we're going to make several of those. So I'm going to do probably 6 or 7 of them. So I'll do one more with you here, and then I'll let you make yours and I'll make mine, so you don't have to watch me do it over and over. So you put him on, bend at a 95-degree angle, take your round nose pliers, grab in the bend, go up and over, rotate these up and go all the way around, then grab your loop and go ahead and wrap. I just thought this red looked so pretty with these mermaid beads. When I saw it, I was like, oh my goodness, that looks so pretty together. And it was kind of by accident. I was picking these up off the floor. They fell and spilled. But they look really pretty with this, so I'm kind of glad that happened. And I'm going to tuck in the little snag. There we go. Okay, so just I'm going to do like, I don't know, 5 more probably. So you can do as many as you want. We're just going to be attaching them right here with the leaves. So just to make some little dangles in there. So go ahead and make some more and come right on back. Okay, so I'm back. Let's zoom this in a little, and I've got my little dangles made. So I'm just going to hook them on here now. I'm going to use some of the jump rings and just it's just going to be like a random, I'm not going to do anything uniform. So I'll probably put just a couple on here like this. And I'm just going to hook them, some of them to the petal jump rings and some of them onto the ring itself. So I'm just making a little cluster here. Just some little clusters of beads. I think this is going to be really cute. This one, I'm just going to do one on it, and I'm just going to hook it directly onto the ring. Maybe right there. This is just to give it some interest and texture and color, and it'll be cute. Okay, this one. I'm just going to hook it right here on the petal ring. I think I am going to do at least 1 or 2 on each petal ring because it kind of makes this look like a little flower. Well, let me get it over there. The little, if they kind of lay on top of the petals, they look cute like that, I think. So I'll probably do these last 2 on this last petal ring, the jump ring on the petal. Hope that's making sense. And you can do as many of these little dangles as you want. I'm going to hook this one right onto here. Now another thing you can do if you don't want these to float all over, you can hook them together. I'm not going to do that, but you could if you wanted them to stay more in one little area instead of floating around on your ring. You could hook them together, hook the jump rings together. I'm trying to get this one on here. There we go. Okay, so here's what we've got. We've got a butterfly, some petals, and some dangles for our focal piece here in the middle. And when you put this on, it'll, you know, just kind of dangle around like that. It's going to be pretty. All right, so now we need to hook we need to do our sides. And you could even, they sent more petals in this box. You could do more petals on here if you wanted to. You could do more little beads, whatever you want to do. Okay, so for our sides, we're going to need, so I'm going to go ahead and I am going to finish the end of this one. Now I'm going to hook this directly onto this ring with my wire guardian, okay? So I need to get all these together in one spot up here. So they're a little more gathered to the top, because when you put these on, it's going to kind of force those to stay where you have them. All right, so I'm going to put my crimp tube on, and then I'm going to run my wire through both channels of the wire guardian. So we're going to go up through this one, around, and down through the other one. And then we want this to go through our crimp tube as well, okay? Pull everything tight. And I like to take my pliers. Oh, wait a minute. I need to put it on the... Glad I remembered that. Okay, I need to put it on here, don't I? Sorry, I just about forgot that, and I would have had to hook it on with a jump ring, which wouldn't have been the end of the world, but I didn't want to do that, so... There we go. So you put it on your ring, and then you put it down through the other side of your crimp. tube. Okay, and I like to take my pliers and squeeze this together right here. I just like the crimp or the wire guardian to be squeezed together a little bit. All right, now here's what's important. Let me see if I can get this to where we can see it. You want to make sure that your wires aren't crossed here, okay? And mine are. So I want to make sure that they're laying side by side just like this, because when you put your crimp tube in or tool in here and you squeeze this, it's going to send one wire in one channel and one wire in the other. Okay, so make sure they're laying side by side. Go ahead and put your tool in there and squeeze that. Okay, so if you look, you have two little channels here, and one wire should be in one and one wire should be in the other. Then you're going to vertically rotate this and you're going to close it up right here. And there you have the perfect little crimp. I finally learned to crimp. After several years of jewelry making, I finally learned to crimp. All right, so that's one side. We're going to go ahead and do the other side as well. Same exact thing. Crimp tube, wire guardian, crimp tube on there. Go up and around your wire guardian. Back down through this side of it. I didn't get enough wire here. Let me pull this out just a little bit. Okay, so we're going to hook this one on here. And then we were just going to put our crimp tube up in there. Okay, so again, you want to come on over here. I'm going to squeeze this together. You don't have to do that, but I just like to. I think it looks a little bit better. And then you're going to make sure that your wires aren't crossed. Okay, pull it tight up in there. Put your crimp pliers in and squeeze this down. And there you have, they're in their little channels. Okay. Then we're going to rotate the pliers, put this up in the first or second channel and squeeze again. And that's going to crimp it up. Okay, so now we have both of our sides, and we've got this to where these will block the petals. They'll have to stay over here where they belong and can't float around too much. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and bead now. So what I'm going to do first, let's get our beads out here, is I'm going to put a little red bead, little red fire polish bead. And I like to make sure that this goes up over both of these strands of tiger tail if I can get it to. And that one will, okay? So I'm going to start with that little red bead. Then I think I will do a bead cap, one of my mermaid beads, another bead cap, push it down, make sure that your wire's going up in the beads. And then I'm going to do a flower bead. Okay. And again, you're probably going to have to adjust that and make those go up in the bead for a few minutes. And then I'm going to do a fire polish bead. Flip it over. If you can't get it in one side, flip it over. It'll go in. And then another bead cap. Mermaid bead. And a bead cap. Now, one thing that I need to do is I need to measure how much length I've got already, because I want to make this about 7 inches. I'm just trying to get these beads out of the way a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to make this about 7 inches. So let me grab my ruler. And we're going to just measure what I already have here. It's not much yet, but it adds up fast. So right now, I've got about, 3 inches, okay? So I'm just going to keep going a little bit. So now I'd kind of like to do another mermaid bead on here. I really want them to kind of be the focal of what I'm doing. So I'm going to put another bead cap like this. So I've got 2 bead caps back to back. I'm going to do another mermaid bead and another bead cap. Okay, another fire polish bead, another flower bead. Where'd they go? Here they are. Another flower bead and another fire polish bead. So I'm going to do that right like that, and I'm going to put my little bead bug on here to keep them from falling off this end, and I'm going to do the same pattern over here. So I've got a fire polish bead, kind of try to scoot that wire into the fire polish bead if you can. If you can't get it to go in there, you can cut it off, but I just kind of like for it to go through a couple of the beads first for some reason. It just makes me feel more secure about the whole thing. There we go. Okay, and then I've got a bead cap, mermaid bead, bead cap, and those two, you kind of have to make them go up in there. Flower bead, another fire polish, okay, bead cap. I'm just following the same pattern on the other side. Mermaid bead. Oops, I put the bead cap on wrong. Bead cap, there we go. Mermaid bead. Another bead cap, and then another bead cap back to back with that one. Another mermaid bead. Another bead cap. Fire polish. Flower. And fire polish. Alright, now here is what I've got so far. Let me measure. So we're right over 6 inches. So by the time I put my clasp on, it's probably going to be right about perfect for where I need it to be. Okay? So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to grab my other 2 wire guardians and crimp tubes. Okay? Get some of that stuff out of the way. And here's my clasp. And I'm going to go ahead and put my crimp tube on, my wire guardian. Now these I am going to hook on with a jump ring, mainly because this is going to need some room to get through the ring, and if it's right next to this big bead, it might have a hard time. So I'm just going to do my wire guardian, go back down through the crimp tube, okay, pull it down here a little bit, and then I'm trying to go through a couple of these beads. That's my goal here. So if I can get through a couple of these beads before I cut my wire. And I did. Okay. So be careful though, because you don't want to kink up your wire, twist it over like it belongs. Okay. Now I'm going to pull this tight. Now you don't want to pull it extremely tight, just a little tight. I need to put this on over here so that doesn't come off. Okay. You just want it to be, you don't want your beads floating around all over the place, but you don't want it stick straight either. It needs to have a little bit of give, okay? So here I have it. I'm going to take my pliers, and that does need pulled a little bit tighter, just like that. Okay, I'm going to bend this in a little, like I did the other time. And then I'm going to take my pliers, and now it's hard at this point to make sure that these aren't crossed because it's just difficult. You can't really see down in there. So you just have to do the best you can. I think mine are good. I'm going to go ahead and bend that down, turn it vertical, and go ahead and crimp it closed. And I think we're good. Give it a tug test, make sure that it's solid, and then you can take your cutters and trim it right off right here. Okay, and we're just going to do the same thing on the other side. So it's important to make sure that this down here at the beginning, that you've got your wire going through the beads and that they're pushed up, you know, like they need to be, that there's not a big gap there. All right, I'm going to take my crimp tube, my wire guardian, going right around here and back through the crimp tube. And I'm going to try to go through this fire polish and maybe that flower. Okay. Pull it down. And just make sure that there's not a lot of loose wire or anything showing in there, okay? I'm going to go ahead and squeeze this together. I'm going to put this in the channel here, where it's pulled kind of tight. Crimp it down. Rotate my crimping pliers. And it's having a hard time closing that up for some reason. Come on now. There we go. And close it right up. Okay. Very good. Trim this off. And here we have our bracelet. Okay. So let's lay this down right here a minute. I don't like the way these are doing. I may have to add another jump ring in there to this middle one, because it seems to be kind of getting stuck. Yeah, they're not really dangling the way I want them to do. Let me fix this really quickly, because it's really going to bug me. So I'm going to take this one, this little dangle off of the one that I put on the ring. I'm going to take it off. I think this will help things. And I'm going to put it directly on the ring of this middle dangle, or on the ring of the dangle that's already on the middle dangle, if that's making any sense. Probably not, but yeah, that's going to make things hang better. That little dangle being on the ring instead of hanging on the petals was kind of it was just binding things up. It was making things have issues, so that's going to be better. Yeah, I like that better. Okay, now I've got it upside down. All right, now we can add our clasp on. Okay, so I'm going to take a jump ring right here, an oval jump ring. I'm just going to hook it right on this wire guardian and put our bar on. And you are going to have to test your toggle bar, make sure that it will go through your ring okay with the beads on here, because sometimes there are issues with that. Close that right up. Not like that. Sometimes these jump rings get hung up on themselves. There we go. You have to kind of pull them out. Okay. And then we're going to take our jump ring and put our toggle ring on. Okay, now let's make sure that our bar will go through with the beads, and it does. So there's our little bracelet. And let's see how it looks when we have it on. There it is, with the little butterfly and the little petals And the mermaid beads, which I dearly love. I'm tempted, and I may do it, to add a couple of mermaid beads here in the middle, because I just love them. They're so pretty. Lay that out there. I think I'm going to do that. I think I'm going to add a couple little mermaid beads here in the middle. So let's see. For one thing, I don't like this underneath. I am going to switch this. So let me, this middle needs a little bit of work. It's not doing what I want it to do. So let me take this one off. Okay. They were laying under the petal. I want them up here on top of the petal. So I'm going to just put them right here on top of the petal. See what that does. And this one is under the petal too, and I'm not sure. Oh, well that's why, because I've got the whole thing upside down. Okay, that causes a problem. Alright, let's look here. I think I may have just undid what I wanted to do. Yeah, these are just not, they're not floating on the ring like I want them to. I'm having trouble. I may have to just add jump rings and hang them that way. I just don't want them binding up and acting weird. Okay. So that's correct. Let's lay this out. Sometimes you just have to do this when things just don't turn out right all the time. So I'm going to make sure these are on the top of this ring. I kind of like the way it looks. I mean, I do. I just don't want these to be acting funny, like laying weird. All right. So there's what we've got. These are on the tops of the petals. This one's not. That's the problem. This one is the problem. Okay. Yeah, I'm like, what is going on? Why is this acting? This is the problem right here. We're going to fix it. It needs to go on the other side. All the rest of them are laying on the tops of the petals, but this one, and I've put it on the bottom somehow. Okay, so let me make sure the butterfly's right. It is. This needs to go on top here. That's probably going to help things quite a bit. Okay. Now let's see. Yeah, now all of the petals, or the little dangles, are on top of the petals. That's better. That is what I needed. Okay, I do want to add a couple of mermaid beads in here. They're just too pretty. And so I'm just going to add a couple. I'm not going to use bead caps. I'm just going to add them with the little ball head pins. So let's do this. Let's make a wrapped loop. I feel like it needs them in the middle a little bit too. They're so pretty. Okay. Just going to, whoops, need to hold that. A lot of these ball head pins are so thin that you can just wrap them with your hand, with your finger. Okay. I think that's going to look better. Maybe. You can hear Chris down there. He's doing his animal talk. I don't know. He has this really weird way that he talks to the animals, and it kind of drives me crazy. But I don't think he cares. All right. So we're going to wrap this. And I'm just going to tuck that in. Okay. Now, do I want to add these in? Do they need it? Does it need them? I don't think it's going to hurt. I'm going to use these regular jump rings. And I'm just going to attach them. How do I want to attach them? I want them kind of dangling in the middle. So I may just attach them to the jump rings that are already here. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to catch those two together and see if that... Again, I'm upside down. It is definitely a cluster. Let me try this one. So that one I put over there. This one I'm going to put right here and catch these two. Not all three of them, just the two. Okay, let's see how this looks. Okay, so by catching the rings, I caught the middle in the first one here and the middle in the second one here together. That clusters that a little bit more. It just causes it to kind of stay in place. So when you put this on, this is what it's going to look like. It's going to have the cluster of all these things right over here and the butterfly on the other side. And I do like it. And you could wear it this way too if you wanted the butterfly to kind of hang up that way. You could do it this way. So I do like it. I think it turned out cute after all. It helps, I think, to add those beads. So here is our finished bracelet. Let me put it on a little form so you can see it better. Okay, so here is how it looks. And, you know, I try to put it like on the crystal here. But because the butterfly hangs one way and the other stuff hangs the other way, it just doesn't, I mean, it looks okay hanging like that. But I think it turned out really cute. I like it. I do like these dangles down here. The petals, I maybe even could have added another jump ring to each petal to make them hang down a little further. But overall, I think it's cute. And I think I'm just going to leave it like it is. So there it is. Little dangles at the top, the butterfly, and the beautiful mermaid beads. And then these flower beads from Sam's Bead Box really made it pretty too. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the tutorial. I know it was a little bit crazy because I was kind of designing on the fly there. So, but if you're interested in subscribing to Bargain Bead Box, I will put a link in the description box below. And I do have the $2 off coupon that you can use either on your first month's subscription box or in their store for $2 off. But you can only use it one time. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I will see you in the next one. Bye.